Hello, happy Tuesday to my favorite Broncos. I wanted to show you a couple of updates on your course page in case you weren't aware of them, okay? So on the right-hand side, you'll see your upcoming assignments. In addition, if you have anything you haven't turned in that was an assignment, it should say overdue right here on the right-hand side, okay? Also, I know some of us have had issues with logging into our Zoom accounts. So I texted you this via Remind, but I'm also linking it here. This is how you authenticate your account in order to be able to access our Zoom. So that way you can bypass any issues, but also if I embed any Google Docs or anything like that, you'll be able to see them by following that process. So click on that, make sure you watch it at some point. Okay, in our week 2 folder, we're gonna slow things down kind of, okay? So that anecdote revision assignment that I assigned yesterday, I know some of us might not have been able to get to it because we were catching up. So I need that to be done before Thursday. You're gonna need to have it by Thursday, so that way when we get to Friday's writing assignment, you're ready to go, okay? If you're not going to be able to get that done by then, you need to let me know, so that way on Friday I can schedule a conference with you so we can work through it together, because we cannot go into the weekend without that not complete. Okay, so today we are going to complete just part 1 only. So what I've assigned in here is going to take us through the next few days. So we're just going to watch and read through and complete part 1. I've linked the lesson that is also hyperlinked inside this document, but it's here just in case you can't open it. So when you open the assignment, it tells you again, complete part 1 today, Tuesday. Okay, make sure you follow all instructions and view all of the embedded content. And then you'll see part 2, and I'm not even going to address it today. We'll talk about it tomorrow. So when you open this, it should make your own copy. And this is what number 1 or part 1 looks like. Okay, we're going to look at using narrative, like our personal experiences and our anecdotes, as an argument. So we're going to look at the way that Drew Dedley does it in his TED Talk, Everyday Leadership. So you can read just the actual transcript here, and this might be nice to have because I'll make you make a copy of it, and you can use it as text evidence later if you need to, and it's a really good draft to have as you start writing your own. And then you could click here to watch the video. It'll take you to the TED Talk website. And this transcript is on there as well, and you can hear it and speed it up or whatever. I think it's maybe 6 minutes, okay? Then I want you to look at our lesson on author's purpose first, okay? You can click here and it'll pull it up, or you can go back to the Tuesday folder where I showed you to access it, okay? So I'm going to go through that first before I get through the rest of your assignment. So when you open this PowerPoint, it shows you just a little information on author's purpose, okay? So author's purpose is what the author hopes to accomplish by speaking, right? So what is Drew Dedley trying to accomplish in his TED Talk? Many times the authors will blend different kinds of writing together, okay? So if we think back to yesterday's video in our anecdote lesson with Thanos, when he's talking to Dr. Strange about his plan and what Titan used to look like and why he wants to wipe out half of the population. If you look at these different types of purpose, Thanos uses he uses more than one, right? He expresses and reflects about what Titan used to be. He reflects on how they called him a madman, right? That reveals a little bit of his motivations and why he wants to, seek revenge, why he's now even more headstrong about going through with the plan. He also takes a stand, right? He says that, our universe's resources are finite, and he's not willing to budge on that. But then he proposes a solution, albeit a pretty cruel one, right? One that really isn't something that anybody agrees with, but hey, he provides a solution to, let's be fair and wipe out half the population so that way the rest of it can grow. It's for the greater good. And so he tries to seek common ground at the beginning of that anecdote, right? Like, we all can agree that there's poverty and there's all these other things that we need to figure out solutions for. But then that's kind of broken, right? And he reflects on that. So there's already like 3 or 4 different purposes in just that one little video clip we saw with Thanos. And so you might remember author's purpose as pie, right? To persuade, to inform, and to explain. And that's all kind and good, but that's so vague and so general. And so Kelly Gallagher, he's a writing teacher in California. He's pretty awesome. He's the one that came up with these 8 different purposes of writing. So I want us to make sure that we have these at our disposal. So if you need to make a copy of these notes, I would. So I wanted to give you an example. If you remember, I'm writing about teaching or being a teacher. And so I wanted to show you how I could take that topic and change it depending upon my purpose, right? Right now, I don't really have a purpose. I'm just kind of talking about the memory and I'm just kind of explaining to you how I felt. So maybe it's a little bit more reflective at this point. Maybe I'm expressing my feelings. But if I were to take just education and teaching and I wanted to express and reflect something, I might write about my personal experience with maybe wanting to become a teacher or anything related to be, motivated to pursue a teaching degree, right? For my essay right now, I think I'm just reflecting on, all these COVID changes and stuff like that. If I wanted to inquire and explore, I might write about what has caused such a change and how teachers are perceived in the media, let's say in the last 20 years, right? Before, it was very much you do what the teacher says, no questions asked. But now it's let's question everything the teacher does. And are we really truly respecting our teachers in the media, right? Because our families might have very different ways of approaching that. So I would maybe have to do some research for that and explore that and inquire about what is changing the shift in perspective. Then I would inform and explain. Maybe I might discuss what a normal workday looks like for a teacher. What specific kinds of expertise does a teacher have to have in their daily work, right? That might be interesting. If I wanted to analyze and interpret anything about education or teaching, I might say, what are the differences between strong teachers and weaker teachers? Can we identify good teaching? And then to take a stand, I might say all formal teacher evaluations should include an option for student feedback. That's taking a stand, right? If we're going to evaluate teachers, we should probably ask kids what we think of those teachers and how good they're teaching, right? Because oftentimes students are never really included in that feedback. If I'm going to evaluate and judge something, this kind of goes back to my inquire and explore, but does teacher compensation, right, our salaries, the way we get paid, affect how the profession is respected in society? For instance, if we were paid like doctors, would we have a little bit more respect in terms of the way we're perceived, right? It's an interesting concept. And then if I were going to propose a solution to anything related to education and teaching, I might say, you know what, teachers, we need to control how we're perceived in the media. So we should have professional social media accounts. So that way we control what everybody sees about our classroom and our teaching. It wouldn't hurt, right? Because then I'm not waiting for somebody else to tell me what my profession is. I'm saying, nope, here's exactly what it is. And that's why I have a Twitter. That's why I have a professional Twitter. And then to seek common ground, well, if we're talking about education, we know that all students deserve quality teachers, right? And if we're going to have really good teachers and they're going to be at their best, then they need to be supported by their communities. So you can kind of tell that I'm kind of working in the same topic, in the same kind of, idea of what I want to write about, but it changes when my purpose changes, right? I'm making a specific point when the purpose changes. So I wanted to make sure that you had access to this as we're working through part 1. So in part 1, you're going to choose 3 of these 4 questions. You do not have to answer them all. But number 1 is, what was the TED Talk mostly about for everyday leadership? What was he talking about? Just summarize it. Number 2, who is Drew Dedley's audience? Right? Because it's not just everybody. If it's called everyday leadership, it's not for everybody. So who would most be impacted by his argument? Who really needs to hear that? What is the main purpose of his argument? So go back to those 8 different purposes of writing and pick one and discuss why you think it's that particular purpose. And then number 4, go back into the text. So you're going to either need to access the link above of the transcript, or you can go to the TED Talk website and actually click on transcript in the TED Talk website and find one or two pieces of specific evidence that support your thinking about his purpose. So if you said his purpose is to express and reflect, then find where that says that, okay, in his TED Talk. That is it. That's all you need to complete for today. Use the author's purpose stuff to help you work through it. They don't need to be long answers, okay, but definitely need to be thoughtful and complete sentences. This is English class. And if you're struggling through it, make sure you ask me. Make sure you, hey, can I meet with you tomorrow morning for tutoring? Because I have tutoring times tomorrow from 8:15 to 9 o'clock. Let me know. All right. Hopefully you'll be able to get a little further ahead in today's assignments. And I will see you later on Zoom if you can make it. Have a great day.